Welcome to this week's edition of the Week in Tri, and without further ado, roll the intro.
Obviously, everybody's still talking about last weekend's Ironman World Championship race in Kona. However, Ironman is not the only show in town. What's happened during this past week is, number one, that the ITU have announced their race calendars for 2016. That's both the World Series events as well as the World Cup. But for me, personally, the biggest news that's been coming out in the triathlon world during the course of this past week is the announcement that the Rev3 series is back. I'm sure many of you remember the Rev3 series, beautiful, superb series of triathlons, taking triathlon basically largely back to its roots. The whole focus of Rev3 was on family-oriented events with activities for the children while the adults were racing, and a mixed match of various distances at various different venues. What happened was that Rev3 originally got into a little bit of financial difficulty, largely relating to an unsustainable prize fund structure they had in place to make their races worthwhile for the pros to race. Something that obviously the Ironman series hasn't been doing, where when you finish 10th in an Ironman, you don't even make your entry fee back. But be that as it may, with the Rev3, in the original profile that they had when they got to 2013, 2014, before they stopped, was that they had these prize funds that were, for the size of the events, unsustainable from a pure financial business model side of things, as well as giving all the extra value-add services that they were giving to their amateur athletes. By the looks of things, from what I've been able to see in the announcement of the return, there doesn't seem to be any mention of pro prize funds, so maybe they're getting back into it with straight age group racing, but just jacking up the overall good vibe, good feeling atmosphere that they created before. And for a brand like Rev3, that's far more of a sustainable model for them. But so Rev3 started in 2008, they went up until 2014, and at that stage they were bought out by the Challenge family, because the Challenge family were then able to utilize these existing Rev3 events to establish themselves on the within the United States. But what they completely underestimated was the power of the family-orientated Rev3 brand. So as a result, the Rev3 style of triathlon and the existing Rev3 branded events that we had before will make a return in 2016. So for me, that's the big piece of news coming out this week. Looking at things from the Xterra front, no big news, because Xterra is building up towards their World Championship on Maui on the 1st of November, so that's in another 2 weeks' time. So up until then, there will be nothing happening on the Xterra front. As I mentioned earlier, ITU has announced the calendar for 2016. However, you can be expecting some changes still to be made to that calendar, because May is the cut-off for Rio Olympic Games qualification points. So they're probably going to be reshuffling their events to shuffle some more events into the pre-May deadline for Olympic qualification points, because in all likelihood they'll be able to charge a higher license fee to those race organizers. But that's a different matter altogether. Then, looking at last weekend in the ITU, on the 9th of October, we had the American Middle Distance Triathlon Cup in the Galapagos. That was in Ecuador. I wish I could bring you some information there, but the ITU has published no results or information about what happened or what maybe didn't even happen at that event. So I've got no idea whether or not the event actually even took place, what the results were, or anything, because the ITU has been completely silent in that regard. Then, Saturday the 10th of October was the European Duathlon Cross Championship in Castro Urdiales in Spain, and you had Margarita Fulana Riera of Spain and Chris Cloddens of Belgium picking up the elite titles there. Sunday the 11th of October was the Premium American Cup Olympic distance in Punta Guilarte Arroyo in Puerto Rico, and there you had Taylor Spivey and Jason West picking up the elite titles. Looking out as far as this coming weekend on the ITU calendar, Saturday the 17th of October, Duathlon World Championship in Adelaide, Australia, and as well as a Continental Cup taking place in Changshu, China. Sunday the 18th of October, you've got the Continental Cup in Catenga de Indias in Colombia, as well as an ITU World Cup in Alanya, Turkey. I'll be bringing you race reports on what happened there in next week's edition of the Weekend Tri. Then, looking at as far as news in the Ironman front, we've got the fact that Ironman has announced some new branded events for 2016. The new venues include Dubai and Estonia. Both are going to be having 70.3 events, and there will be also another new event in the UK during 2016. Although details on venue and what type of format, whether it's going to be a 70.3 or a full Ironman, is still going to be announced once the finalization of the negotiations have taken place. But further information will be released in a special event, probably a special press conference type event, that's scheduled for Rome on Saturday the 17th of October. So next week in the Weekend Tri, I'll be able to bring you feedback on what transpired in the Rome meeting that is going to be taking place on the 17th. Then, looking as far as last weekend's events on the Ironman circuit, I'm going to leave out the 10th of October's Kona race for the moment, and looking at as far as the Louisville, Kentucky Ironman that took place the day after Kona on Sunday the 11th. Looks like, if I look at the results that Ironman have published, there were no professional athletes in Louisville. So it looks like Louisville was the one of the races that Ironman had singled out as having 0 pro athletes, 0 prize fund. And if you take into account the type of athlete experience that Ironman creates and the amount of money that's generated by Ironman 70.3 and full Ironman events, dropping a pro race out of the event just simply ratchets up the World Triathlon Corporation's profit from that weekend like you won't believe. But then again, the Kona race the day before, even with prize money, they still made a bomb of profit out of that one. So, Louisville, Kentucky, no pro race whatsoever, so no elite results to report there. Looking as far as the Saturday the 10th, the Ironman World Championship, this is what happened at the Ironman World Championship on the 10th of October. It should be no surprise at all that Daniela Rafe completely dominated the Ironman World Championship in Kona last weekend. After all, since finishing second to Melinda Caffrey in last year's race in Kona, she's won every single other race that she's raced, which, as her coach Chris Sutton mentioned just about a year ago, should be absolutely no surprise to everybody whatsoever, considering the fact that he's been watching her closely and has seen what type of athlete she is, and he's already made mention of the fact that this could very well be the Daniela Rafe era to replace the Chrissy Wellington era that has come to a close just a couple of years ago. So that's Daniela Rafe takes the world title at the Ironman World Championship in Kona. Jan Frodeno has taken the title of Ironman World Champion for 2015. The German has now added the Kona title to his 70.3 world title and his Olympic gold for a really, really stellar year. Word is that this could be the first of a large number of Frodeno wins at Kona. However, it remains to be seen when Javier Gomez Noya will be taking up the full distance Ironman racing, because Gomez Noya has already won the 70.3 world title, but he has yet to race full distance Ironman. But be that as it may, superb performance by Jan Frodeno, picking up the Ironman world title in Kona, and also let's not forget that he did that in a similar fashion to how he took the Ironman European title just a couple of weeks ago by doing a super solid swim, distancing Sebastian Kienle in the swim, and doing a super solid bike ride, and leaving Kienle, who's normally a strong biker, with absolutely too much to do in the run to be able to catch up. So that's the result of the pro men's race at the Ironman World Championship. You have Jan Frodeno as your champion for 2015. Looking ahead to this coming weekend on the Ironman calendar, we have on Sunday the 18th of October 2 70.3 races. One will be in Port Maguire in Australia, and the second will be in Tempe, Arizona. As I mentioned, both will be 70.3, and I'll be bringing you race reports on what happened in those events in next week's edition of the Week in Tri. So that brings us to the end of this week's edition. Please post any comments, questions, criticisms that you may have in the comment section down below. That way you can help me to help make these videos that much more relevant and entertaining for you to watch in the future. Don't forget, share this out amongst all of your triathlon friends, and thumbs up if you like this type of content, thumbs down if not. That way you also help me to be able to put better content out there in the weeks and months ahead. And last but by no means least, there's a big red subscribe button down below. Hit that subscribe button, that way you stay subscribed to my channel for all the new content, not just the Week in Tri, that comes out to you on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. Remember, next week, Monday to Friday, will be athlete questions as well as a number of other different and interesting videos, and next week Friday will be the next edition of the Week in Tri. Until then, stay carved up for the win out there. I'll see you next time. Cheers.